Iowa State won the last. That was back in 1980. They are 1-1. The officials crew: Ray Natilli, John Gaffney, and Brett Nansel, and Iowa State has it.
Well, here we go. Enjoy the day.
You bet. First of 4 here from Louisville. Back outside, Naz long jumper.
Good start. They run it right through Niang quickly. He passes it out just like we touched on a moment ago. They feature him in their offense. And if they're shooting from the perimeter, high-powered offense of about 78 points a game really kicks it up a notch.
This is the freshman, Nick Norton, true freshman. Around it goes. Tosin McHenty. Baseline, dish back. McHenty guarded by Niang. Runner got it. William Lee for UAB.
You know, one of the things that Fred Hoiberg said yesterday, Vern, when you look at UAB, that they're tall, but these guys are also tall on Iowa State side also. He thought that they looked a little bit like them from a personnel standpoint.
Do you?
Yeah, I think so, but I think overall, you know, there is some size up front, but I'm not so sure they're as talented scoring the basketball as what Iowa State is.
Little difficulty inbound. This is McKay, I beg your pardon, Jameel McKay. And the Notre Dame Northeastern game being televised. That's got the early start. That's on CBS. Dish tipped out of bounds. Last touched by Iowa State. Robert Brown, perhaps the best of the starting 5.
Their leading scorer, the only guy who scores above 10 points. Active guy though, Vern. He'll go inside a little bit, but a nice stroke from the outside. Not a great shooter from 3, but we'll take enough of them.
That one's way short.
Out of bounds. Iowa State.
And Nick Norton just then shooting that basketball. Now he's a 40% three-point shooter. That was, would that missed by about a foot left, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's like one of my putts.
Yeah, but that one didn't have any break on it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Monte Moore's last turnover 136 minutes ago. Add a couple for the start of this game. Nice. That's George Niang.
Yeah, that ability as a big guy, you know, at about 6'8", to be able to put the ball on the floor, as we've touched on already. He touches it, he makes it happen. Guys know exactly when he's going to pass to them. Look up, you get a layup.
Here comes Morris. And he waits for the defender to go by. 2 more. 7-2, Iowa State lead.
So a quick start defensively, most importantly by Iowa State, to control the tempo, to control UAB in terms of not allowing them to get into their sets. Good hands again, reflection of the steal.
No numbers this time, but it doesn't matter. And Morris tries to save it, but a good job by UAB's Robert Brown.
Brown, the only player going after the ball that trip for UAB.
Rebound McKay.
Well, Morris, as you touched on, Vern, doesn't turn the basketball over, so it's so important to have a point guard that you can trust, both as a coach and players.
That one no good from long range. Nate Norton, whose dad is the women's basketball coach. He's got the ball, hands it back now. Number 2, true freshman. His dad coached at Illinois State, then Missouri. And just worked out that his dad accepted the job and he got the scholarship offer.
And he's vital for the way they run their offense too, Norton.
Backcourt, they saved it. Entry pass. Kick it out, take the 3.
So McHenty, Vern, has the assignment of guarding that gentleman right there, Niang. And you know what? It's one thing defensively when you're a big guy at 6'9", but you don't come out and guard. And George knows that, and that's why it was kind of just throwing darts at the basket just then for him.
7 unanswered for Iowa State. 2 men coming off the bench at the next dead ball. McHenty. McKay was there to harass the shot.
UAB has to get some rhythm offensively because Iowa State gets rhythm in an instant with their shooting.
Pass and shoot, no. Norton for UAB has it now.
You see, a size for UAB is one thing, unless there's a good drive to the basket. I was just going to say, you got to start finding the paint a little bit better.
Louisville, Vern Lundquist, Jim Sponarco, and the third member of our team. Let's meet Allie LaForce.
Thank you, Vern. UAB, they've come a long way since the start of the season when they started 4-9. This was a team that lost its exhibition game and its first game on its home court to Louisiana Monroe. But Coach Haas, before conference play started, sat them down and said, we have to completely change our mentality. What's it going to be? So they decided to commit themselves on the defensive end of the ball, and ever since, that's been a huge priority for them. Now, this is a team with 10 underclassmen, just one senior that plays, and he comes off the bench, so it's natural that it would take some time. But it was that turning point that really got these guys going.
All right, thank you, Allie. They also, of course, famously somewhat, dropped their football program last fall.
Yep.
To the now let's take a look at the Infinity Coaches Spotlight for more on Jared Haas. Began his career at California as a player, transferred to Kansas. I'm reading from the bottom up. But he's in his third year at UAB. One of his great influences in coaching, Roy Williams, of course. He was an assistant to Roy at Kansas, went with him when he accepted the job at North Carolina. Jared Haas was a very good player.
He sure was. And, you know, interesting enough that the style that he's trying to put together with UAB, to tag on Allie's point, too, with all those different changes that he made. One of the things that he did, Vern, he said to the guys, you know what? You're shooting 23s a game in non-conference. You're not making them. So let's cut back and shoot only 10, and hopefully we make some of them. But if we're not making, why take 20 of them?
This is Denzel Watts off the bench. And C.J. Washington, the only senior. Jumper from the corner. They are cold as can be.
And a couple of turnovers also, not a good formula for early success.
UAB 1 of 7 from the field. This is Niang back to Naz Long. Niang with a dish. Monte Morris kicks it up. Monte Morris gets it outside. Long. That's off the mark.
There's a 3-on-2. Good pass. Nice work just then on the break. Made that 3-on-1 a 2-on-1, which is even better. You close the floor a little bit, get a better angle. Boy, did they ever need a bucket.
McKay.
So now if you're UAB right now, Vern, you want to make sure you get a good shot right here. Try to see the ball go through the basket twice in a row if you can, consecutive times down the floor.
Watts high off the backboard. And Iowa State will force the pace. Monte Morris. Tipped cleanly.
Oh, you got to catch the ball. Simple. He would have had a layup if he caught it.
Tipped out of bounds by Niang. Off the bench. Here comes Abdul Nader.
Vern, is a simple concept in this sport. You know, when you're coming down the floor, you get a block shot, little deflection, it goes the other way. You're so anxious sometimes at the other end of the floor, too, after the block. When they went down to UAB, they come down the floor and try to make things happen, and you forget to catch the ball. It's just a simple thing, because the anxiety takes over in the NCAA tournament. You forget to catch.
Just a small note, that was a turnover from Monte Morris, so his streak without a turnover comes to an end. Tried to do a little too much.
All right, how about that rejection by Nader coming down the floor?
Monte Morris, 143 minutes without a turnover until that one you just saw.
And a reaction there by Nader to catch up, gets it before the glass. If that ball by rule hits the glass, it's going to be an automatic 2 points. And there's Morris. He probably would have taken a block shot on that too, but I guess he lost it before they tipped it.
Yeah. Sophomore from Flint, Michigan. One of his AAU teammates playing for UAB. That's Denzel Watts. They're both on the floor together now. Both from Flint, number 1 in the green and number 11 in the white. Another Iowa State turnover.
So all of a sudden, they're racking up the turnovers. UAB started a little bit. Coach trying to slow them down a little bit to get the good shots, but they have started, Vern, 2 of 12 from the floor, UAB.
Hakeem Baxter. Turnaround left-handed. And a foul call.
Oh, will the ball go in for them? Just please, they're saying, put the ball in once.
Get all the tournament action with the CBS Sports app. Scores, expert picks, projections, live video, and more. Download the CBS Sports app now. Foul was on Naz Long, his second. There's that shot, Jim.
Yeah. So look at all the spin on the ball, Vern. It just stops and dies, and yeah, that's a team that's struggling at 2 of 13 to get one to just go through. And one thing about UAB, though, I mean, they're off to a poor shooting start, but their energy level is very good. They're making some mistakes, and they just have to fight through it a little bit. They're a young team, and sometimes you get young guys on the NCAA stage, if you will, and all of a sudden, what was nervous a couple of weeks ago wasn't, and now all of a sudden it is.
Wrap around, no. Denzel Watts has control of it. Probes, kicks out. Another kick out, and that's for 3, and it's good. Robert Brown.
Beautiful work, too, Vern, when they got the ball coming down the other way. They did not get in a hurry that time. They made the extra pass, and I love the fact that a few guys put the ball on the deck to try to drive it to the middle of the floor.
7 unanswered for the Blazers.
A little zone look right now for UAB.
And there's McKay. No one's going to stop that.
Now, one of the things that Iowa State does very, very well, and we've seen it on a couple of their drives, they're willing to wait till the last second to try to get the ball to a guy who has positioned himself under the basket. And that one was a simple one because it was a breakdown defensively on their first set on the zone.
Matt Thomas defensively on Brown. Oh, tough shot.
Sure was. Woo. I'm not sure he wanted to face up or jump hook, but it was a tweener.
Thank you, Greg. Look forward to hearing from you throughout the day and keeping us abreast of what's going on in the second and third rounds of March Madness, the NCAA tournament.
And Notre Dame coming off that big win against Carolina, which I was very impressed with. Oh, boy, look at this, Vern. Norton missed right that time.
You know, and he is normally an excellent three-point shooter. I wonder if that's nerves.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. But you know what? You just play your way through it. But ironically, air balls are usually rebounded by the offense.
Now, that's not nerves.
No. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
There's no question. For those who haven't seen Georges Niang play a whole lot, very, very talented big guy. And like we've touched on, I think passing-wise might be one of the best things he does, even though he does quite a bit very, very well on the floor.
Chris Coakley, one of the top subs for UAB on the floor. William Lee is back out there. There's another 3. Robert Brown. And it's a 2-point game.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're UAB, you didn't play well to begin. You're not shooting the ball. That's going to go the other way. And all of a sudden, you look up just like you touched on. What happened here? It's a 2-pointer. Iowa State's getting out of sorts.
Yeah.
Turning the basketball over, running people over a little bit. And what's happening down the other end is Brown is just stepping up and playing comfortable basketball.
That's the first on Georges Niang. At the break, UAB was 3 of 15 from the field, and they're having the chance now to tie or go on top. Morris defending from behind. Got a foul. Now let's take a look at behind the stats presented by LG. UAB, only one senior on the team. 5.2 blocks. The Iowa Cyclones, high scorers, and they won their last 5 games and became Big Ten Conference Tournament champions in each of those last 5 victories. They came from double digits down.
That's a wild stat, isn't it?
Honest.
I think one game they were down by 21 and came back.
Yeah.
Shows you a team that's just not going to go away, regardless of how well UAB plays in the first half here.
Nice baseline drive.
It sure was. And you know what set that one up, Vern, was, did you notice that little hesitation about 10 feet away? Kind of stood up. You get your defender to lock his knees just a touch, and the door opens up for a layup.
Don't look now, but we're tied.
Ooh.
And there's a push off. Yeah.
That's Niang again, too, Vern. And watch around the corner. See that little hesitation? You get your defender just to lock. Nader, who blocked one earlier in this game from behind, just like that. Now here's a big play in this game. Watch Niang. You see that little shove from down below? That's good work from the officials. A lot of times everybody's looking up at the basketball and nobody sees that little block from behind.
So let's see. Niang has gone to the bench. Fred Hoiberg will rest him. We'll see if he'll rest him for the entire remainder of the first half, which has 9:09 to go. Jameel McKay, and somebody got his wrist. No. No. It's on Dustin Hogue, number 22.
Wow. 6th team foul already, Vern, and
yes,
only one down the other end. And there's Niang. And to your point and your question, you know, he's an experienced player, right? So you can say there's two ways of looking at that. Do you put him back in because the experienced player will not make a mistake? I think you sit him for the most of the way here. I know it's a long way, unless UAB goes on a real big run.
There's a foul on UAB. Well, team fouls are now 6-1. 6-2. Chuck Gardner is frantically scratching out the one, keeping me updated and honest.
I don't think Chuck's going to have us make up the numbers today, right?
No.
We'll be in trouble.
Yeah. Monte Morris. Nice. I'm going to do this in a very modest way. That was accomplished with a kiss.
Very nice. Sorry. I'll let it go from now on.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the deeper we get in the tournament, the more the magnet is going to work.
Oh, is Brown ever lighting it up all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Not a guy who's rattled by this early big stage opportunity for him.
Leading scorer for UAB, he averages 13. He's got 10 now. Wow. Clean block.
Yep, clean block. Another example of the air ball getting taken down by an offensive player. The reason for that is defenders, Vern, always turn to try to block out. You count to a beat of 2.5, look for a rebound. It doesn't hit the rim, the count is off. That's why offensive guys have a better look at it.
Robert Brown. William Lee. Nice rebound underneath by UAB. That's Tyler Madison, number 22.
That's what he does. He hits the glass. He's an energy player for UAB, and boy, did he ever get position underneath. Very good activity. And you take a look. Morris with the little floater against defensively, and here's Brown coming off. Who's going to get him? A little late. Too late now.
I would direct your attention to line 3 on the left-hand side. 7 offensive rebounds, 1 for Iowa State. Vern Lundquist, Jim Spanarkel, new partner. Great to have you here.
Great to be with you, Vern.
Talk a little bit, Jim, about the slow start for UAB and how they got back into this.
Well, they started with a couple of turnovers, which is not a good start in the NCAA tournament, and then they start really shooting the ball poorly, and then all of a sudden they didn't let down, and I like the fact that they came back and made it happen at the defensive end of the floor. They actually forced Iowa State into a bunch of turnovers, and Iowa State now has 6. So UAB weathered that first punch from a team, Iowa State, that can put up some points in a hurry.
1-point lead, and that is the first lead for UAB. Morris. Matt Thomas, number 21.
UAB back to the zone. You have to try to drive by people. There you go. With little grab.
And let's check in with Allie LaForce.
Thank you, Vern. You can see me across the way. I'm sitting right behind Iowa State's bench, and in the last media timeout, the team seemed very flustered, very unhappy with the calls that are being made under the basket. Niang said we have to talk on defense. That's the biggest key, and other teammates bickering with one another, saying, listen, don't use the referees as excuses. Instead, we have to be physical and just get a box out. Then we won't have these problems. Then Fred Hoiberg joined the huddle. Things settled down quite a bit, but the focus of that huddle was certainly on the defensive end of the ball.
All right, Allie, thank you.
Yeah, Allie, you're right. I mean, that's a bad concept if you're blaming the officials. Wow. Whoa!
That was pretty good.
William Lee going up the ladder just then. Grabbing it. How about the twist in midair to make that and finish it? Well, this UAB team doesn't look like the one that started this game, to my eye.
From the corner. 10-2. Blazer run. Here's Brown again. Looks inside. Comes back to Watson. Then he'll take the jumper. Air ball. Take a look, Jim, at that last fast break.
Yeah, take a look coming down the floor. It's going to be the lob over the top.
Well, maybe.
And a little problem with the tape right there, but a very athletic play coming down the floor for UAB.
We call that a hiccup.
It's okay.
Thomas. That's his 30th made three of the year.
And Vern, that's a little breakdown from UAB. Now, they haven't seen much. They see a little tape, but the scouting report on Thomas, he can shoot it and he'll let it rip when he's open. So hard when you have only a couple of days to prepare and you haven't seen guys that much in conference, may not have gotten the same type of shot off.
Oh, beautiful pass. Nice double team underneath, though. And Monte Morris comes out with it. Right side, three again, no. Naz long with that shot.
Love the way that UAB continues to funnel back defensively. They have pretty good balance, not giving up the transition. And then at the same time, they keep funneling back in to help out. They're rebounding almost by committee right now.
Jumper, short. Rebound, another offensive board. Brown kicks it out. This time McKay makes sure that Iowa State has it.
He sure did. That wasn't up for grabs, that one.
Quick touch pass in the corner, three-pointer, no.
Now, we touched on the shooting early on. UAB at 8 for 29 right now, but 8 of 19 from the other side. So Iowa State coming back to earth a little bit.
Entry pass. That one got the bounce and fell through. William Lee.
Yeah, he did a lot of work before that catch too. Well, if you're going to let a guy who can handle the basketball at 6'9", he has the length.
Nice. Thomas.
We had a good look right over his right shoulder for that one. You could tell that was going to be nothing but the bottom.
Iowa State up by 1. Robert Brown. They're going to try Mahinty, and there's a double team on him. Thomas almost got it, and that was kicked.
You want to score in the post, you learn how to get your body working down there before the ball comes your direction. Lee catches it, uses his length to go over the top and come right back the other end, though. Just a simple delivery by Morris and a beautiful stroke by Thomas to get a couple back, 3 in particular.
Naz Long chases it down, the dish back, beautifully executed.
Now Long slaps it out almost like a pass to himself to trigger his own one-man fast break. But a terrific understanding. Once he got the ball and ran it down, Vernie never had complete possession. So a nice little play there to finish it off.
Well, we're late in the first half. Excellently played ball game thus far.
Getting them untracked because they started out very, very poorly shooting the basketball.
Nick Norton is back on the floor, number 2. So also is Hakeem Baxter. He's got the ball now. William Lee looks inside. Tosin Mahinti, number 21. Nice job of muscling his way toward the basket. Denzel Watts.
Yeah, he's the point guard backup. He comes in and gives them some very, very good minutes out front. They're switching it up again with their man-to-man defense. You don't let Iowa State get comfortable shooting the long-range shot.
That's the first Thomas miss of the game. Now Watts guarded by Thomas. Little stutter step. Baxter, yes, inside the arc. That's for two.
With Baxter and Watts out there, Vern, it gives them a two-guard look, almost like 2 point guards, but they slide Baxter over to the 2, and he's shooting the ball much, much better. The ability to score, because he's had some bigger games this year where he's gone double-doubles and 15 points earlier in the year.
Long dish in the corner, shot, no. Good position by Tosin Mahinti. Keep in mind that the star of this Iowa State team, George Niang, went to the bench with his second foul at the 9:15 point. We've got 2:10 to go. Got it. William Lee.
Little step back there for Lee, but to your point with Niang too, Vern, you won't see him. It's a good decision, I think.
Right. Hell ball, possession arrow, goes toward UAB. George Niang went to the bench with his second foul. 3 schools from Iowa in the tournament, and pretty good seeds, and 7 of 10 Big 12 teams. I'm smiling because of, I still don't understand how you can have a Big 10 with 12 teams and a Big 12 with 10 teams. Nice, and one.
You know what's interesting there, Vern, and that drive just then from the, when you think about this break with Morris on the break, to my eye, he gets a little bit of a lead. When they get the basketball, he's out ahead. So Brown's coming back. So he can lay that ball right up, but he decides to be unselfish and give it back, and it actually works out. A mistake turns out to be a big plus for Nader. Gets 2 and misses the free throw.
Yeah. Well, that seems appropriate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To your point about the Big 10 and Big 12,
yes.
I think it comes back to marketing.
They
got that
really?
trademark, and off they go.
Really?
You could have 20 teams in each league.
And call them the Big 6. Watts thought about it, drives, jumps, and made the better decision.
A little bit of a quicker step, too, for UAB all around. And I think one of the other things that have really helped this team is their offensive rebounding to get back in this game.
Poor decision by Nader. UAB has hit its last 5 shots. That one cleanly stripped. Uh-oh.
Oh, let's see you get that one.
Uh-oh. A little too aggressive.
You take a look at UAB. Watch this little, you get your shoulders in front of your defender, and that allows you to dictate what you want to do offensively. You know, so Watts making some great decisions. Whoa.
Nice. Little tiptoe on the sideline, baseline. He gets it back. Now Baxter, number 0. Monte Morris comes out. Now he'll back off. Final 28 seconds.
That came from the bench, the back off, because there's a differential of 6 seconds. UAB still has 2 fouls to give, so if they score here, they can use those fouls to their advantage.
Five on the shot clock. Good defense. 3 on the shot clock.
That's a good
Travel.
call. Yep.
Yep.
It's a good call. But you can still go into this now, Vern. It'll take them 3 or 4 seconds to bring it up. So the defense pretty good here. Look at 3 guys, and watch the right foot. That's the pivot foot. You see him lift that up? That's a good call from the officials.
So Nader and Morris in the backcourt. Fred Hoiberg will use a timeout. Chat about what he wants accomplished in the last 9.6 seconds. The Impractical Jokers are hitting the road for their first ever 1 hour special. Impractical Jokers, practically live next Thursday at 9 on the new True TV.
I know that wasn't a joke, right?
Did I sell that with sincerity?
There you go.
It's important.
Here's what Iowa State has to do, Vern. They have to sell that they're going in a hurry right now because remember, they have 2 fouls to give right here. Let's see if they're going to grab anybody. Whoa, they missed
Thomas. Whoa.
Oh, touch late, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's the right call. Good call from the officials. You have that foul to give, and you watch as he comes back. That's a good call. You see the swipe, and the reason it was delayed, he had to wait, the official. Brett Nansel had to wait until the hand actually came around so he could see it. So a good call, and it wasn't a late call.
3.2 to go. Nope. How about this? 31-28. UAB started off shooting 3 of 15.
My reaction is that the team will play like their coach, and I didn't see them get rattled at all. And with Fred just then, I thought he was very calm, collected. He knew exactly what he's trying to approach. He hit on a couple of things with the offensive rebounding that hurt him. This team will react because of the way he coaches. He's poised, and I think his team will be poised. Well,
George, I'm laughing because George Niang was standing right to your right and turned his head and was listening to your commentary.
What'd you think, George?
I think he said, would you hurry up?
Yes, exactly. He's busy out there. He wants to get this half going.
Yep. And there's another turnover. Norton, right side. Robert Brown back to Norton. Mahinty sets the screen. Is that going to be on? Did they get?
And Vern, you take a look at some of these highlights too. How did UAB? They started out poorly shooting the basketball, then recovered. And this is what Fred Hoiberg was talking about: the poise, the controlling of the tempo, running down the floor, getting the easier shots. He needs the adjustments to occur with his team.
That last foul was called on Morris, not Niang. This is Norton. Robert Brown. Traveled.
That's a travel down by the baseline, but that's close to a carry also, out about 10 feet away. Just picking that ball up. You see the way he got an extra step going, which led to the travel because he was off balance, but had a little advantage with the hand cupped under the ball for a second there too.
Entry pass from Hogue to McKay, but it's blocked by Mahinty. And here comes UAB.
Mahinty third in the conference with 2 blocks per game. And a little bit of length too is bothering Iowa State.
There's a bump on the baseline. Looked like Naz Long. Watch live games on your Amazon Kindle, Android device, iPhone, iPad, or computer with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. That's Naz Long's 3rd foul. So far, no move by the coach, Fred Hoiberg, to get him alongside. Robert Brown. Kick out. Nice find of Norton. Boy, that looked good.
That sure did. Much better look than he had in the first 2 air balls he threw up way at the beginning of this game. But what do they come off with, Vern? Another offensive rebound.
Yes.
Not now. You could see that one coming, couldn't you?
Yep. Matt Thomas. Morris. Blocked. But there was a foul before that.
If you do some of the work, you see right in there, the first guy defensively, that allows McKay to get the block on the second. But if you don't have Thomas slowing him down just a touch, the big guy doesn't have that much of a luxury to get a step across the lane to get that block.
Morris is 76% free throw shooter at the line. One for two at a 2-point game. Brown. Norton quickly in the corner. There's the double team.
Good way to back out of that double team, too. Whoa, who's home?
Well, Fred Hoiberg grew up in Ames, Iowa, played at Ames High School, started at Iowa State, then in the NBA for years. And he's now in his 5th season at Iowa State as the head coach and shows no inclination of leaving. He said his family loves it there. He is known as the mayor.
And it was nice to hear him speak about the situation that he has there with the family involved.
Morris on the breakout. Nice reverse. We're tied at 31. 3 on 4.
You don't want to get into an up and down with Iowa State.
Morris. McKay misses the rebound. It'll be UAB ball. And for more on the mayor, check in with Alec.
Thank you, Vern. You mentioned his love for Iowa State. It started when he was a young boy. The family lived just a mile from campus, so he was actually a ball boy for the basketball team and the football team. And he says he does have a worse memory from that. Jeff Hornacek stepped on his foot as he was going out of bounds, and he said it really hurt, and that memory will last forever.
Yeah, and Hornacek also sprained his ankle. So there's another turnover.
And it's not like Jeff was a bad player that, you know, he's a bench role player. Jeff was a very, very good player at all levels.
Here comes UAB. A little sloppy now. Watts guarded by Morris. Just again, they were AAU teammates, won a national championship on a Detroit AAU team.
And I think the sloppy play helps UAB too, Vern, because Iowa State not getting into their rhythm offensively. So, you know, we'll play sloppy for another 10 minutes if you want. Keep it close.
Niang.
Good tip.
Thomas.
Pull up.
Off the mark. Boy, wide open jumper. Tips it, gets it back. Thomas again. There's a nice form.
He sure does. It's picture perfect in Niang that time. It's a slight thing though. Vern, did you notice how he passed it this way to the top of the key, brought the defender's slide just a little bit, and then he reverses it? Niang set that up perfectly.
Short. Thomas will run. No numbers. Brings it back out. Niang. Hogue.
Good fake.
Will drive. Yes. Short.
Boy, Mahenti has been a defensive factor on the drives by Iowa State. He continues to just be there enough.
Timeout, UAB. And it comes with 14:45 to go in the game.
So a little bit of defense with McKay reaching out and getting a little tip on that shot. And then the setup for Thomas's three puts Iowa State up by 3.
The head coach at SMU and Steve Alford now at UCLA. That's next here on True TV. VCU has not hit a field goal in this half. 0 for 6, 2 of them from 3. Brown can't turn the quarter on Niang. 2 on the shot clock, and they beat it.
Well, and a good set, too, when you think about coming off the break just then. Come out and run it. A lot of touches, activity. And once again, you know, when Ali asked Fred Hoiberg about those 5 games that they've come back. Those games are more up-tempo, Vern, than this one right here. So this is a slowdown. Those scores got up to 67, 70 with their wins. So this will be interesting to see if UAB lets this get out of control and more of an up-tempo, which I don't think they want to at this point.
Nice spin move and a tip. Clean block by Morris. Close one in Louisville. Iowa State the favorite. They're up by only 1. Tired of hearing the same sports headlines on repeat? Get everything about your favorite teams and get it all first. Download the Team Stream app from Bleacher Report. 1-point margin, 34-33. Robert Brown fouled as he went up. Well, they've started this half frigid. Got the one little short jumper. But we've had 4 lead changes, 4 ties. Closely contested game between a team that comes in 19 and 15 out of Conference USA. That would be UAB against Iowa State, champions of the Big 12, having defeated Kansas in the final.
And you look at what Robert Brown did in that Conference USA tournament, a terrific run for him. And this team also. And the pace continues to favor UAB.
Morris. Oh, good tip. Jameel McKay with the putback.
Well, that was a change of pace just then for Morris, bringing it down the floor. I'm sure UAB does not like that from their coaching sideline. The fact that he went right through the gut of the defense for a tip-in at the other end.
That's too strong, but the air ball controlled by UAB. There's a tip from McKay. There's a tip from Niang. And here comes Iowa State. Thomas will back it out.
And you see the little push up there by Morris. Get the ball ahead. That's what they want to try to do.
Block shots now 5-3. They had 2 in that last possession.
A little double screen down low for Niang. They want to get him the ball, Vern, either for a shot or a pass.
Rattled around, came out. 1 point, Iowa State. 12:40 to go. Beauty.
Little drift there by Coakley going to the basket, Vern. That's one of the things he does so very well. He's overshadowed on this team. Comes off the bench, but has had a very, very good year. 6th man of the year in the conference and finds a way to get it done on the glass.
McKay kicks it back out. Entry pass, McKay goes up, short, put back again.
Once again, Vern, that's the catch, right? If you're going to let him catch it, then you're in trouble to begin with, and you can't. It's too close to block him out. So everything goes in the favor of the offense. So you got to root that guy away from the block. Get him off there. Don't tell me this is going to be another close NCAA basketball game in the tournament, is it?
Jumper. Oh! I think it might.
That's a
Coakley.
Well, he wasn't overshadowed on that one.
From the corner, Matt Thomas. This one around and out.
Yeah, they're looking to push a little bit.
Jumper. Good job getting the rebound. Here's Brown with an open look. No. Yes.
Well, you know what, Vern? There's a storyline here brewing for a team that's really going to work on the offensive glass. They are just dominating Iowa State on the offensive side of the floor. They just continue to go after it. Here's that first one to finish. And then they just continue to go after it, and they get lucky with a little slap. Gives them a little breathing room.
UAB on the offensive glass has out-rebounded Iowa State 41-38. Look at the sneakers they're wearing. One white, one green. There's a reason for that. Here's Allie with more.
Thank you, Vern. They wear 2 different shoes to raise awareness for pediatric cancer. When Coach Haas first joined the program, the team rallied around a young cancer survivor named Elijah Sarrett. He was just 19 months old when he was taken to the emergency room for the first time. He's had 17 surgeries since, and he is hands down their inspiration.
That's a nice story.
That's a fabulous story. That's what it's all about. Kids playing basketball at the collegiate level, taking the time to think about somebody else. Doesn't get any better than that.
Uh-oh. Little wrestling match. Who'd they get?
Yeah,
they got Hogue.
And Iowa State really needs Niang to get something going here. He gets a friendly bounce. Maybe it'll change his game. 1-point
game, 10:46 to go. Winner of this will meet either SMU or UCLA. Well, turnover.
Look underneath. You got him.
Got him.
Yep.
Iowa State back on top.
Pretty nice transition, wasn't it, out of the block shot? In a hurry, get down the floor, spread it, go after it, and attack. Iowa State very good with that. They have to incorporate, I think, some mid-range action into the game at the offensive end, too.
10th lead change in this one. Robert Brown guarded by Naz Long. Here's Abdul Nader defensively. Entry pass. Jump hook. Nope. Take a look at that last Iowa State possession.
And one thing to look for, too, Vern, is watch how spread out they are when they come down the floor. Guys have to hit and spread and come down the floor and look for their layups. Great work by Iowa State in the previous play.
Let's check the 5 on the floor now. Morris. Nader, there's a screen set by Niang. Nader in the corner. Turns the corner. Nope. Another rebound. UAB has been terrific on the boards today.
If they're going to leave Niang out 20 feet from the basket, it's a great opportunity to keep driving. The lane is pretty much wide open for Iowa State.
40-27.
And the offensive glass is even worse than that, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Tyler Madison's getting ready to come back in. He's got 10 rebounds for UAB, 9 of them offensive. He'll be in shortly.
You know, when we had a chance to speak with Fred Hoiberg yesterday, remember, Vern, he was talking about these guys almost look like us. They're long, they're athletic, they get up and down the floor, they're a good rebounding team. You know, he didn't make too much of a point of it, but he was inferring that he may have their work cut out for them underneath the glass, and he was right on target.
Well, Niang has just picked up his third. I'm willing to bet Hoiberg is not going to get the hook. He's going to leave Niang out there. Brown, one more.
I think you're absolutely right, Vern. In the first half, you want to bury him and make sure that he doesn't get at the 9:15 mark, I believe it was. He had 2. So you got it. He has to play.
Nader.
Whoop. And it's just a typical afternoon of basketball, really, the way these guys are going after it, bumping one another. Good follow just then. Blocks Iowa State with physical play. This is just going to get more and more intense as this last 9 minutes and change starts to evolve.
And notice at the top of the screen, Northeastern and Notre Dame. That game being seen on CBS. Nice. Robert Brown has 16 points now.
I love the way he's mixed it up, too. From the very beginning, hit a couple of outside shots, drove it. He's not settling for the outside shot.
Long. Niang. Long calls for it. Goes baseline. There's a collision, but no call, and a floater from Nader, and it's good.
Yeah, the fact, too, Vern, that Madison fell down just then on the right side allowed a driving lane as he comes back holding his hand a little bit.
Steal. Morris.
Oh,
brother! McKay got the tip.
Thought we were watching a slow motion replay just then. That thing just sat on the rim. How did that roll away for him? But great work by McKay, and all of a sudden, this is a good timeout here.
Who's going to make the most shots? Who has more points in the second half? If your bracket's already busted, shame on you. Play the Capital One. And so that'd have been early out. Okay, the Capital One NCAA tournament run game on NCAA.com and in the March Madness Live app. I see somebody sitting in office saying, "Dag nabbit."
Boy, if they have to go back to work that quickly in the day, they've missed something up there on a Thursday afternoon and then into a Friday. It's not the way it's supposed to be.
Too strong. Niang gets the rebound. Puts it in the hands of Monte Morris. 4-3, off the mark. Rebound again.
I know he can hit that shot, Vern, but I'm not so sure you want that one. They've come down 2 previous trips. We're getting some rhythm offensively. Look at this.
Denzel Watts puts the Blazers back on top.
He's giving them a good lift off the bench. Defensively right there, 2 3-on-1 here.
Morris lost it. Niang has to be careful.
Yep, had to stay away there just at about the 7-minute mark, so you give up a bucket there rather than your 4th foul.
Long for 3.
Well, he was cooking at 40% on the season, so that's a shot he can knock back. And boy, did they need one there, because this was shifting. A minute and a half ago it was shifting to Iowa State, then it started shifting back. It's a terrific ball game.
Tied with 6:40 to go. Nope.
That is a very difficult entry pass. If you're trying to go from the left elbow to the right blocks, there's a lot of traffic usually. And so UAB running with them, coming back, and we have a couple of shifts back and forth. The big answer down the other side by Long. Got a little bit of a ball game here.
All right, Greg, thank you. So Notre Dame, a surprisingly difficult encounter with Northeastern. Here, George Niang, only 9 points. He averages 16. Robert Brown leads UAB with 16.
And Niang, a first-team All-Big 12. He's not going away, even though he misses on the blocks right there. And a nice little set that they run to get him a jump hook.
Tie game, 6:12 to go. This is a UAB team that started the season 4-9, including 3 losses to power conference teams in the Bahamas back in December.
And their motors look pretty good still. They're still moving without the basketball pretty well. Oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy. I bet that's what Jared Haas was saying.
I think he's saying we can get that shot whenever we want to, even though it's a little late in the shot clock, but still.
Niang. Oh, he's having a tough day. Still having a tough day.
Yeah, Mahenti down there.
Head ball.
Yep.
Goes UAB's way.
There are a couple of reasons. He's pressing a little bit right now, but also look at the bigs closing on him. There's the first one, and watch this second one. Look where he has to shoot that from. That's not a typical jump hook, Vern. That's kind of like a jump hook, and almost like a toss at the end of it.
He is 4 of 12 from the field.
Still don't think he's going to go away in the last 5 of this game.
Tip, got it! Robert Brown.
One thing to take those long 3-pointers, but if you can get them to be shots that come off softly, you can go after the glass.
Morris. Oh, another rebound. The Blazers have owned the glass today. Last win in the NCAA came in 2005. Remarkably, I think, this is their 15th tournament appearance in only 36 years of existence as a university. And they were led early on by the great late Gene Bartow.
Yeah, they sure were.
Shot clock at 5. Naz Long, outlet pass. Nader. Whoa.
Whoa is right.
Whoa.
And you know what? Interesting enough, too, Vern, Morris stopped on a dime about 25 feet away. If he misses that shot, UAB would have gotten that rebound. So that was a terrific outlet pass, though. Good help by Niang just then. He's out of position, though.
Blocked. McKay got it. Now Iowa State has it. Monte Morris.
He's very tricky with the basketball. I love the way Morris just then baited the defender into thinking he was going to release the basketball. He chooses to stay with it. Nice transition hoop by Iowa State the last couple of trips down the floor. So trying to make things happen if you're Iowa State. You're not shooting the ball real well. Get out and run. You got a little lucky bounce right there, and it squeezes up over the rim. Look at this. He's faking up. I'm taking this all by myself. Nice finish for a 2-point lead.
2005 was the last time UAB won a tournament game. Marvette McDonald scored 21 points as Mike Anderson's squad took care of LSU 82-68 in the first round. UAB lost to third-seeded Arizona Wildcats by 22 points in the second round.
Flashbacks always bring back good memories, don't they?
Yep.
Remembering those games that you may have forgotten, but it's nice to relive them for a second or two.
Iowa State, one timeout remaining now. Shot clock at 10. Morris came over. Oh. This has been something to behold. Iowa State by 2. UAB has been horrible from three-point range, but they've dominated the rebounding edge, and that's why they're only 2 back.
Well, when you're shooting 33% on the game, Bernard, you touched on another 13% from 3. There's going to be a lot of rebounds, and one of the things they have done is they've really focused on the offensive glass. If not for the offensive glass, they'd probably be down 10 points right now.
8 ties, 14 lead changes. Right now, it's Iowa State by 2. Niang, short again, but he's fouled. Coakley picks up his first. Niang at the free throw line. Shoots 2. He's an 81% free throw shooter. This is his first trip to the line this afternoon.
And this has not been a free throw shooting contest, Vern. None of these, 4 of 6 for Iowa State. UAB only at the line 7 of 8 times. And they have the advantage right now of only 2 fouls, UAB.
Niang hits 2, and it's a 4-point lead.
Watt's running the show. He's done a nice job for them this afternoon.
Back outside. They have missed their last 8 three-point shots.
Yeah, they're going to just start pushing that ball towards the middle of the floor, drive it if they can. Oh, that's a terrific save, wasn't it?
Oh, boy. Hogue.
Not only the tip and going after the basketball, but you generally don't want to throw the ball in that direction. But he found a teammate to lob it to. That's just a flat-out great play down the stretch.
Niang has it blocked by Lee.
And they haven't shied away from Niang defensively, nor has Iowa State gone away from them.
That's for 3. They're 0 for their last 9. Foul on UAB.
So you have to make it happen down the stretch. Look at the tip. Foot goes down, not even close to being out of bounds, and look at him turn to see, probably thinking, I'm not supposed to throw it that way, but if somebody's there, and defensively, beautiful work by Lee on Niang.
That's the second foul on Coakley, but only the 3rd on UAB in this half. 2:10, and a 4-point Iowa State lead. Morris. Back out to George Niang.
This is where the matchup with him right now is a mismatch because he can bring it outside. Just can't hit though.
No. Robert Brown, foul called on Nader.
So what they try to do is they try to get Niang outside because that gives him the ability to drive by the bigger guys. He gets a good look. He makes that shot normally, but this afternoon it's just been a true struggle for him. 4 of 14 from the floor.
Yep.
Big possession right
Jumper
here.
Brown.
Oh,
And one!
William Lee working the offensive glass again, and watch him on the right side. He's just finding a way to get in on this side of the floor. And look at the positioning. He gets a terrific bounce, but you don't get that bounce, Vern, unless you do the work beforehand. Great positioning. And look at how he holds it up strongly. He keeps it high in the air. He doesn't bring it down to his waist where you can strip him.
And that's 4 on Niang. He looked at the bench. Hoiberg said, stay out there. 4 fouls on Niang with 96 seconds to go, and they missed the free throw.
80% free throw shooter, too.
Yep.
Here's one of your biggest possessions of the game on both sides of the floor.
Monte Morris guarded by Denzel Watts.
And Morris has to get out of there to give him some room.
Niang.
Yeah, you see, that almost cost him a turnover with Watts hanging around.
Dustin Hove back outside, 10 on the shot clock. High screen. Here's Morris, 5 on the shot clock. 2 on the shot clock. Off balance, shot clock violation. What a terrific defensive possession.
Yeah, Fred,
but I'm not so sure about the options.
No, I'm not sure either, but they took him out of all the options. Look at this, and then you get a floater from 17 away, not going to cut it.
Under a minute.
Yep, keep challenging. Oh, baby!
Jameel McKay with the block.
So it's the right thing to think about if you're UAB, but McKay has been superb defensively all afternoon. And now the timeouts will start to build up. UAB this time.
And George Niang, one of the great stars of the Big 12, has had his problems today.
Now there's that one that he gets out of control with the charge, and every shot just about has been contested by not only one UAB player, but generally 2 guys here again in traffic trying to make it happen. He does have 7 rebounds, though.
Denzel Watts will inbound. Robert Brown gets loose, takes the jumper. Got it!
Boy, was that ever done in confidence. Well, it's a congested screen right through here, and he's going to squeeze through. You'll see him squeeze through, and almost it appears as if he kind of stumbles through it a little bit. You see how he comes stumbling out, and then he catches, regathers, and knocks back a huge shot for UAB. Where's the help? I don't think Iowa State was thinking they were going to go deep on them right then. They allowed that catch. Great call from the sideline.
UAB had missed its last 9 3-point shots. They're now 3 of 18. All 3 from Ronald Brown. None more important than this one.
And this is a 31% free throw shooter. To my look, he's behind the arc. That's not going to count. I mean, it's not going to matter when they look at it. That's a 3-point shot.
And they did look. It is confirmed. And UAB has a 1-point lead.
They want to find a way to get this ball into the middle of the floor again. It's not a point. You have time, but you got to make sure you don't take too much time off the clock.
Morris got it.
There you go. Well done.
Iowa State back on top.
Same strategy down this end, Vern. You got to play quick. You don't want to you don't want to turn over. You don't want to out-hustle yourself and out-hurry yourself.
High screen.
Good shot blocker in there, though.
Here's Lee. Over to Yang. Got it.
Oh, they're just answering back and forth down the stretch.
Morris again. What a hard screen. And a blocking foul called underneath.
I don't think that's going to be a shooting foul, though, will it? It's going to be on the floor.
Fouled on Lee.
So there's where the lack of fouls comes in to help you when you have the lead. So it's clearly a blocking foul right there. There's no question that that's a good call. Lee moving. It's before the shot. And then we come back down the other end. UAB Lee just using his size at 6'9" to go right over the top with the jumper.
And the timeout was called by Iowa State with 17.1 to go. Take a breath. Here we go.
Yeah, if you're UAB right now, Vern, with 4 team fouls, if you get in trouble defensively, you can take chances. And just as long as they're not shooting the ball, take some chances to grab whatever you want to do to make sure they don't get to a shooting motion. Because Iowa State in the same situation, it's going just back and forth, repeating ourselves in terms of what they need to do. They need to get something slipping towards the basket, be under control, and definitely not wait to play it to the last shot. You want to keep the time on the clock.
Niang has it, double teamed, taken away, and a foul in the backcourt.
They went after their star, Niang, to try to put a bucket together, and they have just, UAB has collapsed on them. Really have collapsed on them nicely. There's just nothing here from the get-go, Vern. Watch defensively. He tries to spin. Beautiful play. And we've talked about Mahinty the whole afternoon, how he's been a factor defensively. And look at them, both guys in there. Well defended.
Lee is at the line. He's missed 1 today. He's shooting 1 and 1. And he's an 80% free throw shooter. 80%. UAB leads by 2.
Now, when you see the question becomes, let's see now, if it's a 3-point game, the old strategy then of what do you do if you're UAB? Do you foul or not? Remember, I mentioned it a second ago, they have 4 team fouls. They should be fouling all over the place when this gets close. There you go, there's one.
There's one.
Okay, and they have 1 more to give before they even get, the bonus is really not a factor because they want, normally when this occurs, Vern, down the stretch, you're fouling to put them at the line.
Right.
So now these guys can do this 2 more times with 5 team fouls. So the entry pass, make sure a guy doesn't catch it and go real fast with it though.
7.5 to go.
Just foul him when he turns around. Oh, they missed him.
Jumper for 3. No tip. Oh my gosh. I think it was tipped in by a UAB player. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to really matter though.
0.4 of a second left.
See now, when Niang had his back turned with the basketball, right, facing away, and if you look at it right there, right, now you stop it there, you look at him, he's got his back to the basket, so I don't want to foul him right there, but as soon as he makes any kind of move, now you foul him. And they miss it, and look what happens. Long comes across, and anybody who's a UAB fan is thinking, my goodness, how did they let that occur?
And they did credit Morris with the basket.
So they get a great look, and I mean a great look from a guy who shoots 40% from the 3-point stripe. Ball goes in. Now all you have to do is really touch the basketball if you're a UAB on this inbound.
They did put 0.3 of a second additionally
okay, that's
back in the clock.
All right.
0.7. A 3 seed against a 14.
Amazing. And you're going to look back, and Niang did not have a good game, the star player for Iowa State, but offensive rebounding, in my mind, Vern, is just was just huge for these guys.
Now they've changed it back, Jim.
Yep, the
0.4.
For all intents and purposes, if this ball gets in and just touches a UAB player, just catch it and hold on to it. He throws it deep.
There's the throw.
Just a touch. There you go.
why they call it March Madness.
It sure is. It's a great way to start the day here.